You are hurtling down the Mulsanne straight at 210 miles per hour in pitch-black darkness. It is 3 o'clock in the morning, and you have not slept in 40 hours. Rain is hammering your windshield, your headlights are a yellow smear of crushed insects, and your visor is fogging up. Suddenly, a slower GT4 car spins directly in front of you. You cannot see it until it enters your high beams. You have less than 1/10 of a second to react. You swing the steering wheel, avoiding the crash by inches, before blasting back into the dark. Endurance racing is not about raw speed. It is a slow, agonizing war of attrition against physical exhaustion, mechanical wear, and sleep deprivation. If you are ready to climb the ranks and endure the ultimate test, subscribe now to join our crew. Let us begin. Level 1. The karting 12-hour. You are standing in the pit lane of an outdoor karting track at midnight. The air is freezing and the tarmac is slick with dew. Your paddock is a plastic folding table and your tools are scattered in a cardboard box. Your budget is zero. You and 3 friends paid $50 each to enter a local amateur endurance race. Your vehicle is a rental cart with a vibrating 9-horsepower engine that rattles the entire frame. You are in the middle of a 4-hour driving shift. The engine noise is a high-pitched buzz that rings inside your skull. You are breathing in raw exhaust fumes and 2-stroke oil from the cart ahead. Your hands are locked around the steering wheel, your fingers numb from the cold wind that blows under your visor. The chassis has no suspension at all, transferring every single bump and curb on the track directly to your spine and ribs. Your lower back muscles are cramping, and your ribs are bruised from sliding against the hard plastic seat. The steering wheel vibrates violently, making your forearms burn with fatigue. You want to pit and rest, but your team needs you to stay out. You pull the steering wheel hard, sliding through a tight hairpin, fighting the physical pain. Every time you bounce over the plastic curbs, a sharp pain shoots up your back, making you gasp for air inside your helmet. Success at this level is simply surviving the physical vibration of the drive. The vibration is so intense that your vision goes blurry on the straights and your chest feels tight from the constant rattling of the seat. You cross the timing line, your hands shaking as the cold wind cuts through your cheap racing suit. The headlights of your competitor illuminate the mud on the track, forcing you to adjust your line on every lap. You look at the pit board, seeing that you still have 40 minutes left in your shift, and you realize that endurance is a mental game as much as a physical one. Level 2. The Clubman Road Car Enduro. You have stepped up to a modified Mazda Miata, racing in a 6-hour regional club event. Your service paddock is a small garage tent, and your crew is your spouse and a local mechanic. You are driving a production-based car with a standard manual gearbox that requires heavy mechanical effort to shift. The physical strain shifts from vibration to heat. The cockpit of the touring car has no air conditioning, and the engine heat radiates through the metal floorboards. Your fireproof suit traps the sweat, raising your body temperature. During your double shift, the brake pedal starts to feel soft, requiring a harder press of your foot to slow the car down before the corners. You must manage the mechanical wear of the tires and brake pads. If you drive too aggressively, you will destroy the rubber before your shift ends, forcing an extra pit stop. You adjust your driving, braking earlier and smoother to preserve the brakes. During a driver swap, the window net is unlatched, the radio cord is unplugged, and you scramble out of the tight bucket seat. Your teammate slides in, adjusting the seat slider, while the mechanic scrambles to fuel the tank with a heavy dump can. You hand over the car, your boots smoking from the floorboard heat, your body completely dehydrated. The heat in the cabin acts like a sauna, draining your physical strength and dulling your mental reflexes as you watch the lap timer slowly tick down. Level 3. The Spec Racer Ford Enduro. You are competing in a regional 4-hour championship in a single-seater, open cockpit race car. The vehicle is purpose-built, with a tube-frame chassis and no driver aids of any kind. There is no power steering, no anti-lock brakes, and no traction control. The steering wheel is incredibly heavy, requiring constant physical force and upper body strength to turn the tires. The wind blast at 120 miles per hour tears at your helmet, straining your neck muscles with every lap. You are exposed to the elements, driving through a sudden summer rainstorm that turns the track into ice. Without anti-lock brakes, a single lockup will flat spot your tires instantly, causing a violent vibration that destroys the suspension and ruins your race. You modulate the heavy brake pedal with precision, feeling the traction through the soles of your racing shoes. You must run on hard compound treaded tires that slide everywhere, requiring constant micro-corrections. You fight the steering wheel through every turn, your shoulders screaming from the high G-forces. You learn to balance physical strain with mechanical preservation, knowing that one mistake will spin you into the grass. The rain stings your face through the visor gap, and the cold water puddles in the seat bucket, keeping you awake as you fight for control of the car. Level 4, the GT4 Regional Cup. You are racing a factory-built Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport in a 12-hour amateur endurance event at Sebring. The track is notoriously rough, made of old concrete runways with massive seams that jar the chassis on every single foot of the track. You must deal with multi-class racing for the first time. You are not the fastest class of car on the track. Faster GT3 and prototype machines are constantly catching you from behind. You must watch your mirrors while maintaining your own racing line. At night, the headlights of the faster cars fill your mirrors, blinding you as they approach at high speed. You must predict where they will make their pass, sometimes yielding the corner to avoid a costly collision. A prototype car flies past you on the inside, its massive engine roar shaking your entire chassis. The concrete bumps are relentless, shaking your teeth as you bounce over the famous Sunset Bend. The dashboard warning lights flash as the traction control intervenes over the bumps. You must manage the differential temperature alerts, adjusting your pace to prevent a gearbox failure. The concrete seams act like miniature speed bumps, punishing the suspension and bruising your hips against the carbon seat shell. Your wrists are sore from holding the wheel over the rough concrete surface, and the heat in the cabin is beginning to rise. Level 5, the GT3 Customer Competitor. You are driving a Porsche 911 GT3R in the 24 hours of Nürburgring. The track is the legendary Nordschleife, 14 miles of narrow asphalt winding through the Eiffel Forest, with 73 corners and 0 runoff areas. It is 2 o'clock in the morning, and a dense fog rolls over the mountain. The track is wet from a light drizzle, and the temperature is near freezing. Keeping your tires warm in these conditions is a constant battle of physics. If the tire pressure drops, you lose all grip and slide into the steel barriers. Your headlights cut through the fog, revealing only a few feet of track ahead. You must rely on memory, navigating blind crests and fast corners at 150 miles per hour. The mental toll of steering through the darkness with 150 other cars on the track at the same time is mentally exhausting. Your engineer is speaking through the radio, reporting crashes ahead. You pass a burning wreckage, the orange flames casting shadows on the wet asphalt. Your heart rate is elevated, and your muscles are tense. You must stay calm, managing the throttle with absolute precision on the slick surface. You breathe deeply, forcing your heart rate down as you approach the next corner. You bounce over the concrete plates of the carousel, the steering wheel kicking violently in your hands. Slower TCR's cars block the narrow racing line, forcing you to make risky passes on the wet grass. One mistake here means a head-on collision with a steel barrier. The damp forest air smells of pine, burning rubber, and unburnt fuel. A chaotic mixture that fills your helmet. Your eyes are dry from staring through the fog, and you count the minutes until the sun rises. Level 6. The LMP3 Junior. You have entered the world of prototype racing in the European Le Mans Series. The LMP3 car is a purpose-built racer with high aerodynamic downforce. The physical demands increase dramatically as the car generates high cornering speeds. The aerodynamic downforce pulls high G-forces, straining your neck and core muscles. You wear a specialized carbon neck restraint to prevent injury, but your neck muscles still ache after 20 laps. The steering is heavy, and the cockpit is cramped, designed for pure speed rather than driver comfort. You must learn the prototype line, which is much faster through the corners than the GT cars. You are now the one passing the slower GT4 machines that you used to drive. You must dive inside them at the braking zones, trusting that they see you in their mirrors. During a double stint, your water bottle system fails. You are stuck in the hot cabin for 2 hours without hydration. Your mouth is dry, and your concentration begins to slip. You make a small error, locking the front tires and flat spotting the rubber. The steering wheel starts to shake violently in your hands, making it hard to see the apex. The carbon-carbon brakes require intense heat to bite, meaning you must press the pedal with over 100 pounds of force. The cabin heat is stifling, reaching over 120 degrees, turning the cockpit into a physical furnace. The hot air blows across your face, carrying the dry dust of the brake pads and making your eyes water. You must push through the dehydration, focusing on the mechanical feedback of the chassis. Level 7. The LMP2 Privateer. You are piloting an Oreca 07 LMP2 car in the 24 hours of Spa. The vehicle is a high downforce prototype, capable of cornering speeds that rival Formula cars. The spa-francorchamps circuit features Eau Rouge, a fast uphill compression that subjects your body to massive vertical G-forces. At night, you plunge down the hill at 180 miles per hour, compressed into your seat as the car climbs the steep rise. Your vision narrows for a split second as the blood rushes from your head. During the early morning hours, the weather transitions from rain to dry asphalt. You must manage the hybrid track conditions, running treadless tires on a damp surface. The car slides constantly, requiring rapid steering inputs to catch the slides before the car spins. Your neck muscles are completely exhausted, unable to support the weight of your helmet under braking. You must rest your head against the cockpit padding, using the carbon support to survive the high G-forces through the fast sweeps. The tire marbles litter the track, making any departure from the clean racing line feel like driving on ice. The tire pressure sensor warnings flash in red on your steering wheel display. You fight the physical pain in your back, holding the steering wheel tight as you clear the final chicane. The vertical compression at Eau Rouge feels like a physical punch to the stomach, draining the air from your lungs on every single lap. The steering wheel shakes violently as you fight the compression. Your engineer is calling for tire temperatures on the radio, but you can barely find the breath to reply, muttering a quick acknowledgement. Level 8. The GTE Pro Factory Driver. You are a factory driver for a manufacturer team at Le Mans. You are driving a GTE car, battling against other factory teams in a highly competitive class. The pressure from the team management is immense, with sponsors and corporate executives watching your every move from the garage. Your race engineer is constantly in your ear, reporting gap times, fuel consumption, and strategy changes. You must execute lift and coast techniques to save fuel, lifting off the throttle before the braking zones to extend your stint and meet the target lap times. The traffic management is relentless. You must negotiate passes with faster LMP prototypes and slower GT amateur cars on every lap. A single miscalculation will result in a high-speed collision, ending the race and destroying months of team preparation. You drive a triple stint, spending 3 hours in the cockpit. The physical exhaustion is accompanied by mental fatigue. Your eyes burn from staring at the taillights in the dark, and your hands are cramped around the wheel grip. You brake from 180 miles per hour to 50 for the Mulsanne chicanes, your calf muscles screaming. The Michelin tire degradation is severe, making the car loose in the high-speed corners. You focus on the rhythm of the track, blocking out the pressure and the noise, turning your driving into a mechanical routine. The constant flashing of the blue lights in your cockpit warns you of fast prototypes approaching, a sensory overload that never stops. You take a deep breath, focusing only on the next braking marker as you fly through the night. Level 9, the Hypercar Simulation Tester. Before you can race the main machine, you must spend hundreds of hours in the team simulator. You are testing the development of the hybrid prototype, running 30-hour endurance simulations in a dark room. You wear your full racing gear, strapped into a motion chassis that replicates the physical forces and bumps of the track. The simulation runs in real time, matching the actual time of day and track conditions. You test different software maps, adjusting the hybrid energy recovery system and the brake-by-wire settings. The engineer commands you to change settings on the steering wheel while driving at 200 miles per hour down the virtual straightaways. The repetition is mentally crushing. You drive for 6 hours, sleep for 2 in a cot next to the simulator, and then climb back in. The simulator movement lacks the real airflow of the track, making the cockpit hot and stuffy, smelling of electronics and plastic. You analyze the data with the software engineers, looking for ways to improve fuel efficiency and mechanical reliability. You test different regenerative braking maps, trying to find the perfect balance between battery charging and chassis stability under deceleration. You learn to translate your physical sensations into technical feedback, helping to refine the chassis for the real race. The artificial green light of the computer screens is the only indicator of the passage of time in the windowless room, a silent prison of focus that exhausts your mind before you ever touch the real asphalt. Level 10, the Hypercar Factory Driver. You are strapped into the cockpit of a 1,000-horsepower hybrid hypercar, leading the 24 hours of Le Mans. It is 3 o'clock in the morning, and the physical abyss has arrived. You have been awake for 40 hours, your body running on pure adrenaline and caffeine. A heavy rainstorm hits the circuit, turning the asphalt into a lake. The windshield wiper struggles to clear the water, which is mixed with mud, grease, and rubber debris. Your headlights are covered in dead insects, casting a dim, yellow light into the darkness ahead. Your visor begins to fog up from your heavy breathing. You open a tiny vent on your helmet, letting the cold air blast your face to clear the glass. The physical exhaustion is intense. Your neck muscles are locked, your core is sore, and your wrists are stiff from fighting the heavy steering wheel at high speed. You are flying down the Mulsanne straight at 210 miles per hour in the dark. The car aquaplanes on the standing water, the tires losing contact with the road. The engine revs spike, and the steering wheel goes completely light. You do not touch the brakes, keeping your foot pinned to the floor to maintain control of the car. Suddenly, a slower GT4 car spins directly in front of you. You cannot see it until it enters your high beams. You have less than 1/10 of a second to react. You swing the steering wheel, avoiding the crash by inches before blasting back into the dark. Your heart is beating at 180 beats per minute, and you hold your breath for a second, waiting for the adrenaline to settle. Your engineer is shouting through the radio, urging you to maintain your pace. The rival team is closing the gap, and you cannot afford to slow down. The hybrid system boost deploys out of the corners, throwing you back into the seat with a violent surge of power. You must manage the battery deployment manually, pressing the boost button on every straightaway. You push through the exhaustion, finding a second wind as the sky begins to lighten. You cross the finish line, taking the checkered flag to win the race. The team owner is screaming with joy over the radio. You climb out of the car, standing on the roof as the crowd cheers under the cold morning sky. Your body is completely broken, but the victory is yours, and the trophy is finally in your hands. 2 weeks later, you officially announce your retirement. You walk away from the factory contract, the constant PR events, and the crushing pressure of the WEC paddock, seeking the quiet of a normal life at home. Years later, you stand at a quiet local kart track. You lean against the chain-link fence, watching a young kid load a rental cart into the back of an old pickup truck. His hands are covered in grease, and his suit is stained with fuel, working to replace a spark plug. You do not say anything. You just watch the kid drive onto the track, the engine buzzing in the cool air. You feel a deep respect for the long climb that starts in the mud, remembering your own early days. You realize that the glory was never in the trophies. It was in the process. The late night shifts, the physical exhaustion, the absolute trust in your team, and the quiet satisfaction of controlling physics under pressure. You watch the young driver complete a lap, throwing up a spray of wet mud as he slides through the bend. You walk back to your car, ready for the quiet road ahead.